Hey popcorn lovers and movie buffs. Welcome to Popcorn and Ticket, the channel where we talk about all things movies. In this video, we will recap the new Netflix movie Nowhere 2023. This movie is a remarkable source of inspiration. It explores the compelling journey of a young lady trying to flee a totalitarian government that has implemented the cruel and inhumane policy of killing children, the elderly, and pregnant women in order to manage the food and water crises. This will serve you with great motivation and inspiration, so watch this video through to the finish. Ruthless anti-shortage measures imposed by the Spanish government force people to leave the country. The film scene opens with announcements and updates on the radio. Some people are waiting in a car. They hear on the radio that France is the 10th country that has also joined hands with the government in support of the anti-sabotage policy. The policy has become a mark of fear for pregnant women, old people, and children. After getting updates on the radio, people leave the van hurriedly in fear and confusion. A contractor brings them into a cargo area to deport them illegally. The government's helicopters are also monitoring every place they think is favorable for people to hide or leave the country. Here, some people are coughed up by helicopter surveillance, and they are warned of being shot dead if they do not surrender. But Nico with his pregnant wife Mia successfully manages to hide and escape. Here they meet Leader, who send people abroad through maritime containers and charge heavy amounts. Leader says that the rules have been changed. The more risk, the more money. Nico says that they have nothing more, but Leader demands their marriage rings. Mia insists that they have given everything. Now why is this? Nico does not listen and takes her ring off her finger and his own as well. Now Leader allows them to pass. They get into a container, ready to leave for their port. Both Nico and Mia get into the container. As they get in, the container's door is closed, and the driver starts driving the truck. After a while, someone turns the light on, and we see many other people have already reached out to leave the country. A woman opens a broadcast channel to listen to debates. Journalists criticize anti-shortage measures, saying that first they ask for a little sacrifice of old people, and now they are killing pregnant women and children. This will make it worse than solving it. There might be other solutions. Mia takes a chocolate out of Nico's jacket and asks Nico, "Where'd you get this?" And Nico says it is a secret and told Mia not to eat it yet. Mia asks Nico if Ireland will also adopt this policy to deal with crises. Nico says that the Irish are brave, they would not do so. Mia asks Nico about a young girl, Angela. Do you think she is pregnant? Nico says that if she were pregnant, she would not have been alone. Nico asks Mia about the unborn baby, and she says that everything is okay. But for the past few days, baby has not kicked. Mia asks Nico if Uma, their daughter taken away by the military, might be alive. Nico says not, they would have been killed here. Suddenly truck stops, and some more people rush into the truck, and Leader fires a gunshot to calm people. Another truck has come. He asks some people to come into the second truck, and they force Nico to get into the other truck, and Mia runs helplessly for Nico. This is how both Nico and Mia are separated. Mia looks at Nico from a small hole in the iron wall of the container. She makes Nico a phone call. Helplessly, she says, "I do not want to be without you." She says how we would join again. Nico says, "My container is behind yours." Mia looks out and sees that 107 is marked on the container, where Nico is kept separated. She tells Nico the container's serial number. Later on the way to port, Mia experiences ruthless and horrible things. She sees military killing, beating, and abducting pregnant women, children, and girls on the roads. At a checkpoint, their truck is stopped by the military. Driver gives the legal papers and asks them to let him go because he might be late, but Commander Gill says that he has to open and check everything. Commander Gill is informed by a soldier that a second truck has arrived. Gill advises setting it aside. He asks the soldiers to open the container. He enters the container, and after examining it, he comes out and asks a soldier to shoot at the point where the container's internal wall ends. This is how he comes to the conclusion that some are separately hidden, where people are hiding. So, he comes in again and warns that if you all do not come out, you will be shot dead. He says that anti-shortage measures are ruthless and painful, causing death by the government's hands, but trust me, I would leave you if you surrendered. Why do you trust smugglers who take everything from you and assure you of a better future? Things like this make no sense at all, she says. The young girl, Angela, opens the door. The commander gives her a brutal headshot and asks the soldiers to shoot them all. Mia already has a hiding place on the top of a box and is watching everything from above. After all are killed, a baby girl is seen alive, and soldiers also kill her. Now all are dead, and the commander asks soldiers to take bodies out and clean everything. Truck is allowed to move on. Mia sent Nico a message about a horrible incident. She tells him that they have killed them all. They are going to kill you, so hide somewhere. A few hours later, the truck reaches the port, and the container is picked up to load on the ship. She sits aside in the corner of the container. She reaches for her phone, intending to view photos of her daughter Uma and her husband, but sets it aside overwhelmed by anxiety and fear. She took the bag of a woman who was killed on the way by the military. She finds a drill, a phone, and a water bottle. She grabs a jacket and falls asleep with it serving as a pillow. Suddenly, the ship meets a storm, which awakens Mia. She cries for help. She looks out from small holes in the iron wall of the container. She looks at some crew members who are opening those containers where people are hiding. She tries to call them but fails to get help, and with many other containers, her container is dropped off in the sea. As container is buffeted by flickering, fluttering, and wavering sensations, she is dragged and jolted, and she loses consciousness. When she wakes up, she comes to know that water is coming in from all sides. Then she realizes that water is pouring in from the holes in the container's wall, which were made to receive oxygen and light. She looks out and sees many containers in the sea. She looks at all sides of the container. She opens everything in the container to know what things are in it so that she might get valuable things to survive. She finds empty boxes, earphone, beer bottles, a TV, and some clothes, among many other things. She finds an adhesive tape that helps her fix the water coming into the container. Suddenly, she looks at the family photo book floating in the water, which belongs to her. She opens it and smiles. But nature does not give her more time, and she listens to people crying. As she looks out, she finds the container with serial number 107. It is drowning. She cries, calling Nico helplessly, trying to make a phone call, but before she can talk to her husband, the container gets under the deep water. Her body is breaking from the strain of pregnancy and her heart is breaking from the loss of her husband. She keeps calling her number despite knowing that her husband has passed away out of helplessness and fear. She sets down her phone and prepares to take her own life with a knife. Her stomach hurts as she considers doing it, and she senses hope for her unborn child and the possibility of another life. As she falls asleep, container begins to growl, causing her to awaken. She realizes that as the container fills with water, it will ultimately meet the same fate as container 107, drowning. She finds a few items, like fiber rope, plastic bottles, and packages, among other things, to address the issue. To be able to drain the container of its water, she binds the plastic bottle with the plastic pipe and inserts it into the pipes in the higher holes. She places the wooden boxes on the container's correct ridges. She organizes everything to determine its purpose. Additional water bottles, lighters, a drilling machine, and food packs were also discovered by her. She receives an unexpected call from her husband, Nico, who explains, "I couldn't contact you because my phone had a low battery, and the driver left us outside the city limits. I'm coming," he promises. She explains, however, that she is inside a container floating in the ocean, not on the ship. "Try to survive," says Nico, "I'll find you." "I can't do anything more, and I miss her," she replies. Nico urges her to take action for the newborn child. "You are not to blame for what happened to Uma," says Nico. She is consoled by Nico, and their conversation comes to a close. She is in excruciating discomfort. She eventually eats something. She gives birth to her child in a jolting container as another storm hits it. She sets up a few things to create a bed for her child. To protect it, she places her meconium in a box. She drills many holes in the top of the container to make a window. But the machine broke down before she could finish drilling. She cuts through the spaces with a knife. She gets her hands injured. Later, she experiences severe hunger. She searches for more food, and she becomes aware that everything is over. She must, unfortunately, consume her own meconium, which she does to save her baby's life so that she might produce milk for her baby. She discovers that some large whale are assaulting her container as she finishes her meal. This points to a different issue that she might face at any point in her survival. She later continues the unfinished project of creating a window. She attempts to use a knife, but it breaks. The water has been used up. She is too exhausted to do any more work. She had a dream her husband and daughter Uma arriving. She says, "Please come closer, Uma." Uma replies, "Can we go home now, please?" Uma asks why you let them take me away. "I just wanted to play with the airplane." Mia says, "Sorry for this. It is my fault. Please forgive me for this." As she wakes up, she realizes that it is raining, which enables her to obtain fresh water. She removes the drilled portion of the container using fiber rope. She is prosperous. She comes out of the container with her new baby. She talks with her baby. She enters the container after taking a look at the commercial flights. She locates a piece of mirror to offer the signal. While approaching the container from above, she is hurt. She sends out a signal that reflects sunlight towards flight, but it is unsuccessful. She decides to catch fish as part of her plan to prepare meals. She uses earphone wires to create a fishing net so she can catch fish. She does this with some tools, and she also gets fish. She is compelled to consume uncooked fish, which she does. Mia hears a noise in the middle of the night and goes to investigate. It's just a plastic container, but then her phone rings. It's Nico, and he has bad news. He was shot while stealing a boat, and he's dying. He calls to say goodbye and make Mia promise she'll survive. Mia holds the phone up to Noah so he can hear her, and then Nico and Mia say I love you to each other. Mia's phone battery dies, and the wind blows out the fire as she cries. We then learn that Mia still has the Snickers bar she was saving for the end of her journey. She keeps pulling water from the container and catching fish. She finally discovers that the water has already covered more than half of the container and cannot be removed. She is near a landmass that offers her hope for her baby's future existence because a bird visits her container and takes her fish, which shows that she is nearby. She constructs a raft from materials on hand, including wooden crates, plastic items, and fiber ropes. Water pressure reopens the holes in the container, and it starts filling very quickly, which forces her to leave immediately. But she gets into the container to take some necessary things that might be useful for her new journey. She also sees the Snickers bar inside a plastic container, so she takes the risk and goes further inside to grab it. Here, she is stuck. The container is about to disappear under the deep water, and her baby boat is slipping away with her baby. But somehow, she manages to get out of it by cutting the rope using the piece of metal. So, she has done it. As she comes out of the container, she is terrified to discover she can't see Noah. She starts finding her baby, and, unexpectedly, a whale also appears on the surface. The whale comes to visit them throughout the night, which keeps Mia in constant fear. Fortunately, the whale passes by and expels some water, which hits Noah and makes her cry. Now Mia can follow the direction of the noise and reunite with Noah. Birds have arrived as a new day begins. She is now exhausted. She ties her hand to the raft. She travels by raft while carrying her baby. A woman and an old man are catching fish. The woman says that I told you there are no fish, so we should go elsewhere. The woman asks the old man to get closer to where birds are flying. When they arrive, they load a tiny raft onto their boat. They find a newborn child and then turn to face one another. The woman notices that the small raft is secured with a rope. The sailors start pulling until Mia's body come out. The sailors immediately start applying CPR. Mia finally reacts. Mia sobs when she wakes up on the boat and the sailors hand the baby to her before using the radio to call for help. It takes Mia a moment to realize she's safe, and when she looks at the horizon, she sees they're approaching Ireland, meaning she'll be able to get the new life she wanted. Mia and her baby are saved by an Irish couple. Thanks for watching our recap of Nowhere. We hope you enjoyed it. If you did, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more movie reviews, recaps, and other fun movie content.